Coming up, we're talking all things Labor Day.
That's right.
It's a great day to celebrate, but what are we celebrating exactly? We're getting the history of this three-day weekend when our celebrity historian, Raffi Andonian, joins us after the break. Stay with us for more Good Day in WA.
Well, Labor Day is here. While most folks are taking the day off, what exactly is the history behind the holiday? We've got celebrity historian Raffi Andonian is back to fill us in on all things Labor Day. Good to see you.
Yeah, great to see you.
Of course, great time to be here for holiday weekend. Come on now,
love it.
Let's talk about the origin of Labor Day.
Yeah, what happened in Labor Day is in 1882 is what you had the first time that you have a parade for Labor Day. It's a local union in New York City that starts it. And it's in early September, and it goes each year from there, and it catches on. So you have local ordinances throughout municipalities that start to throughout the 1880s, pass these ordinances that end up recognizing Labor Day.
Sure.
And then states start to come along, and you have state legislation until 1894 when it becomes federal. So over 12 years is what we're looking at. You had actually up to 30 states that had already recognized Labor Day, but when the federal government came in with President Grover Cleveland, that's when it became a national holiday. Now, I'll say the best way that you can celebrate Labor Day historically is to do the 3 Ps, which is to picnic, parade, and party. Yeah. Because that's exactly what they did. The whole point of Labor Day is to have a day of amusement off from all that labor to recognize the workers. So you should go out and have fun. I liken it more to like July 4th. Than Memorial Day. It's not as somber. It's nice and fun.
Right, yeah. Okay. I love it. The 3 Ps. I got to remember that.
Yeah, picnic, party, parade.
Yes, yes.
Let's talk about how the labor groups got started, specifically here in Arkansas.
In Arkansas, what happens is that in 1839, you have the first, what we would consider the beginnings of a labor union, because they put together a political slate of candidates that they think you should vote for as, pro-labor. But they don't quite do this stuff for wages and working conditions just yet. That happens more starting in the 1850s with a group of printers, actually, in Arkansas that start to try to form a union multiple times until finally it works out by the 1860s, of course, during the Civil War. And they start to use the momentum to start to get union members across different municipalities throughout Arkansas. It's local federations, but it proliferates from there. You got bricklayers, washerwomen, agricultural workers, railroad workers. Those are all the folks that are jumping on. Now that starts to change in Arkansas in the 1880s when you have the Knights of Labor, which is a big national organization that begins to have presence in Arkansas. And when that happens, which, by the way, the Knights of Labor was a secret organization for its first dozen years of its existence until it finally comes out. That's right. Now, what that leads to is a bunch of success in Arkansas with the Knights and the local federations in winning a bunch of, concessions on railroad workers and coal workers, especially here in the western part of the state. But a generation later, so maybe about 100 years ago from where we are today, in the early part of the 20th century, that starts to change a little bit. You have some local conflicts. The Elaine Massacre, very famous, which is in Phillips County, which also has a racial component to it, but that leads to a Supreme Court case that actually helps expand civil rights. There's a shift in the Supreme Court in recognizing due process for African Americans. You also have an event called the Harrison County Riot, or Harrison Riot, which is in Boone County, which is actually railroad workers. And that's when they are kind of run off to the Missouri border, and even someone gets hanged. And then another thing that happens right here in northwest Arkansas is in Sebastian County. Now there, what you have is a coal mining sort of conflict that also leads to a Supreme Court case, which changes the way the court interprets interstate commerce clause. So Arkansas was often on the forefront of labor movement stuff throughout the early part of the 20th century.
Wow, a lot of history there. But I think my big takeaway is the 3 Ps. Get out there and party, and have a picnic, have a good time. I love it. Thanks for joining us and filling us in. A little history behind Labor Day. We appreciate you. Yeah.
We'll be right back.